continuing a pattern of Israel's total and complete inability to even criticize the United States. We have a story here of member of Knesset Tzvika Foghel making a total clown out of himself and Otzma Yehudit, Ben Gvir's party by extension, and the rest of the state of Israel and the Jewish people by an even further extension. After criticizing Donald Trump, Tzvika Foghel apologizes. MK Tzvika Foghel hinted that the US president fears the continuation of the war, which is true. So Tzvika Foghel correctly pointed this out, and later issued an apology tweet stating, quote, "I had no intention to offend or show any disrespect." Wow. Merely criticizing a foreign president elicited this immediate apology, running to the front and saying, no, I didn't mean any disrespect. Please forgive me. Now, I would pull up the tweet that Tzvika Foghel sent out, but of course he deleted it, obviously. Tzvika Foghel deleted his tweet and any remnant of what used to be Israeli sovereignty. Now let's look at how they summed it up, because like I said, the tweet doesn't exist anymore. The apology followed a sharp post published a day earlier, shortly after Trump announced a blockade in the Strait of Hormuz, in which Foghel urged the president to follow through on his threats against Iran, writing, quote, "Donald, if you need to shoot, shoot, don't quack," which is kind of a it's kind of a lame joke. I guess it's Donald Duck, right? Donald, like a duck quacks. Okay, kind of corny, but still. And even this was too much. This required an immediate apology. I guess Tzvika Foghel got the call. He got the call. You have insulted the President of the United States. You must apologize. Tzvika Foghel, okay. I apologize. Please forgive me. Tzvika Foghel. Well, let's see who Tzvika Foghel is. Tzvika Foghel, chairman of the National Security Committee. I mean, how you have a man here who runs to delete a tweet that's so benign, and this man is on the National Security Committee? God help us. Lieutenant Colonel. This guy's a lieutenant colonel. Chairman of the Jewish Strength faction. More like the Jewish Apology Party. Oh my God. Let's see his groveling apology. Let's check this out if you really want to see something amazing. Mr. President, just as you consider what is best for the United States, I consider what is best for the state of Israel. And that's the only thing before my eyes. Sounds good so far. My intention in voicing criticism was to be heard and succeeded in reaching the right ears. Okay, we're doing good. However, there was no intention to offend or show any disrespect. Please, no, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean to disrespect you. Oh God. Oh no. And for that, I regret. I hold great respect and appreciation for our partners. Well, to be honest, Israel only has one. It's the United States. So I don't know what it means by partners, plural, but okay. With you at the forefront, it is important that we continue on this path until victory. So like I said, Tzvika Foghel got the call, and he ran to apologize. Now, let's consider this. Israel has fought a war with the United States. Israel is the only country to fight a war with the United States going back a long time. Even during the Iraq War, when the U.S. had other partners, those other countries barely contributed. Barely. You had token participation from countries like England and France and other countries like that. But the U.S. carried the lion's share. in this war, Israel has done, I couldn't possibly quantify if it's most of the work. I wouldn't be able to tell you that. But a very, very big percentage of the work, a big percentage of the intelligence, a big percentage of the airstrikes, a big percentage of everything. I mean, Israel has truly been practically a 50-50 partner with the United States in this war. Unlike countries like Saudi Arabia, unlike countries like Qatar and Kuwait, who themselves have been on record urging the United States to continue fighting. So this is not Israel's war. If anything, it's really Qatar, Saudi Arabia's war. Kuwait's kind of small time, so we'll just say Qatar and Saudi Arabia. Remember, the United States signed an agreement with Qatar that any attack on Qatar is an attack on the United States. So the U.S. obligated itself, Donald Trump obligated the United States to protect Qatar. Israel has no such guarantee. The United States has not obligated itself to protect Israel. It's obligated itself to protect Qatar. So, Israel has fought alongside the United States. No one else has. And like I said, not even a token participation, but a 50-50 partner, basically. And furthermore, Israel has put its own civilians in harm's way in order to fight this war. 0 American civilians have been put in harm's way. So Israel is really on the line here, whereas the United States is not. So all the belly aching and crying from people like Steve Bannon and Tucker Carlson and others about, oh, the United States and American troops are in harm's way. The state of Israel is in harm's way. Civilians in Israel are in harm's way. And you don't hear any belly aching from Israel. But I digress. So Tzvika Foghel is very concerned that he insulted the United States. Let's take a look at these negotiation discussions that have just taken place. Number one, the United States has entered into a negotiation with Iran. Israel was not invited to participate in that negotiation. Israel is an equal partner to the United States in this war. Why was Israel not invited to this negotiation? Everyone understands that Israel, Netanyahu, and all of the people that surround him, of course, want to be part of this negotiation, but they were not invited to this. That right there is a tremendous amount of disrespect and a slap in the face to Israel. Does Tzvika Foghel bring that point up? No. No. Tzvika Foghel, I didn't mean to insult the United States. I didn't mean to insult Donald Trump. Please, please. We're the ones getting disrespect. And Tzvika Foghel doesn't seem to care or notice. Point number two. What country has acted as a mediator in these negotiations? Pakistan, right? Now let's see if I could pull up the Pakistan tweet on Israel. Let's see. I'm sure this made headlines. Ah, here we go. Here we go. Here's very good. We got a headline here from our friends at Times of Israel. Let's see if we could pull that up. Ah, Pakistani defense minister deletes X post calling cancerous Israel a, quote, curse for humanity. So this is who the United States feels can be an impartial arbiter in these negotiation talks with Iran. This is a slap in the face to Israel and the Jewish people. Does the United States not know about this? Did the United States even chastise Pakistan over this? No. No. Actually, I believe Donald Trump called Pakistan a great partner, and they've been an important entity towards facilitating peace. So again, another insult to Israel And the United States sits there and says, too bad, we don't care. Let's look at Turkey, right? Turkey is recently, Erdogan has made some statements about Israel, right? Let's see. Let's see if we could pull that up. Erdogan effectively said that he's going to threatens to invade Israel. Ah, okay, right. Let's go. Let's see. Oh, got an error message. Oh, maybe they pulled the story down. Erdogan threatens military action against Israel. Remember, Turkey, I believe, is part of Donald Trump's board of PIS in Gaza. Another trusted partner of the United States. Erdogan threatens military action against Israel. There you go. So the insults from the United States against Israel pile up and pile up and pile up. And Tzvika Foghel is, oh my God, I called you Donald Duck. Oh, please don't get mad at me. The blood-stained genocide network, Israel, continues to kill innocent children and women and civilians, ignoring all kinds of human values. To be explained by a Muslim about human values, isn't that interesting? Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. We must be strong to prevent Israel from doing this to Palestine. Well, it looks like this guy wants to get a smack, which odds are he will get, but regardless, Israel, again, takes more insults from more American partners and allies. No apology incoming, no explanation incoming, nothing. Now let's take this the next step. For some people that explain to me, well, Israel needs the United States. We have to take these insults. We have to. Now let me address that very quickly. See, the United States does not want to harm the global markets. That's why Iran knows they can defeat the United States. It's not military. Iran knows militarily head-to-head they would get destroyed by the United States and certainly by Israel and the United States, right? This is a matter of Iran calling the United States' bluff. That's what it is. They know that if oil prices start to skyrocket because Iran fights a guerrilla war in the Strait of Hormuz and in Bab al-Mandab, in the other strait, on both sides of Saudi Arabia, effectively, kind of boxing Saudi Arabia and the Gulf in, the United States will have to relent. That's what they're figuring. And in a lot of ways, they're correct. The United States does not have the stomach to defend Western civilization from the menace that is Islam. They don't. It's why Europe has fallen, and it's why the United States has fallen. Simple as that. So the Christian West is finished. It's basically done. The United States is still holding out, but for all intents and purposes, it is done. And it is not done because, the Jews convinced us to take in Muslims. Yeah, no, that's not why. It is because to the Christian West, commodities markets and the stock market is more important than defending your families and your homes and your land and your civilization. That's why. Israel does not have this problem. Israel spends every drop of blood and every shekel they have to defend their land and their people and their civilization. It's why Israel is ascendant. It's why the United States is falling, and why Europe is done. Europe is completely finished anyway. So here's the thing. We know that Karg Island represents basically all of the income that the IRGC has. Almost all of it. It is a single point of failure for Iran. Iran cannot defend Karg Island. Simple as that. They just cannot. So, Israel is a small country. Israel's not the United States. The United States needs a tremendous amount of money, and they need a tremendous amount of oil, and they need that oil to keep flowing. And the markets, too. It's not even, oh, well, we have our own oil in Venezuela or whatever. That's not enough. The dollar is extremely leveraged. The United States economy is largely based on markets. It's not really based on manufacturing. They don't really have any. Most of it is financial speculation and things of that nature. So if the world economy starts to falter, the United States is in big trouble. Israel doesn't really have this problem. Israel's a very small country. They don't really have very high oil requirements. And they're not really leveraged. The Israeli shekel is the strongest it's ever been against the US dollar. So Israel's in an incredibly strong position. The United States is not. All Israel would have to do to end this war and to end Iran and to end Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis is to destroy Karg Island. That's it. Because with no money to fund all of these shenanigans against Israel, it's over. So if someone were to ask me, well, what should Israel do? It's very simple. Because you have the money aspect, which is funding the problems, and you have the uranium that Iran is sitting on. How do you solve those two problems? It's very, very simple. Israel immediately should launch a tactical nuclear strike on Karg Island and explain to the Iranians, look, Karg Island is not a civilian target. There are really no civilians on Karg Island. It's pretty much only for oil production and distribution and whatever else they do there. Now that you've seen what we can do, you have 24 hours to surrender that uranium. If you do not do that, we will do exactly what the United States did in Japan. We will drop a nuclear bomb on Tehran every 24 hours until you surrender that uranium. And that's the end of the war. So, and as I said, Hezbollah only exists on the money they get from Iran. Hamas only exists on the money they get from Iran. And the Houthis only exist on the money they get from Iran. And then Iran is functionally finished. So game over. Game over. Israel could literally end this entire regional conflict in a matter of days, maximum. So that's it. Israel does not need the United States for this. In fact, the United States is really the only thing standing in the way of Israel ending this conflict. Donald Trump is desperate, despite what he says, he's desperate. You know what? I'll use a statement like Donald Trump uses. Donald Trump is on his knees begging the Iranians for a deal, begging like a dog. That's the truth. And the Iranians know it. And those of us Jews who are not afraid like Tzvika Foghel, oh, retired colonel, lieutenant, whatever. I'm not afraid to say Donald Trump is a loser. He's a loser. He's on his knees begging the Iranians like a dog for a deal. The Iranians are calling his bluff because they know what we all know. That Donald Trump is desperate to save the teetering US dollar, which it is, highly leveraged. And understand this final point that I'll make. Much of the dollar's strength comes from what's known as the petrodollar. All the Gulf oil that's sold, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, they have agreed for many years to only sell their oil in US dollars. And what that means is that all the countries of the world need to buy dollars in order to buy their oil. Those transactions are a huge piece in holding up the US dollar. If the war in the Gulf escalates and the Gulf realizes the United States cannot protect them and their interests, they will start to move away from this petrodollar agreement. Another reason why Donald Trump and the Americans are desperate to end this war at all costs. Desperate. Israel is not. In fact, the very liberal city of Tel Aviv, which it is, very liberal city, even the residents there are demanding that Israel continue to bomb Iran. So there's really no one in Israel that wants this war to end. This is an extremely popular war in Israel, despite all of the missiles pointing and landing on and around civilians here. So Israel does not need the United States. The United States continues to disrespect Israel, and cowards like Tzvika Foghel, most likely at the behest of his party boss Itamar Ben-Gvir, former tough guy, now Israel last sellout Itamar Ben-Gvir, most likely called him himself after most likely receiving a call from Benjamin Netanyahu, king of the Israel last mafia. So there are those of us who are not afraid of Donald Trump, don't care about the Americans, and on top of this, understand victory is right there for us. And here's the good news. It will remain there for us. Time is on our side. Karg Island is going nowhere. Israel, they say Iran says, oh, well, we've only used some of our weapons. Israel has used virtually none of its best weapons, and we know what those weapons are. Israel can't use them. Oh, they can use them, and they should use them. Iran wants to turn the Middle East into total chaos. We can turn Iran into chaos. America is showing, as I've said, they have no stomach for warfare. They are unwilling to put their people and their civilization before money. That's why they're disappearing. We are going up, 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 and up. Even with Benjamin Netanyahu, even with the America-loving Benjamin Netanyahu, even with him, we are ascendant. So the good news is that Iran is extremely vulnerable to us. I mean, people say this, and I hate using this phrase, but it's the truth. We can smash them anytime we want. But what is our problem? Our problem is here. Our problem is thinking that we need the United States, when in fact the United States is holding us back. The United States cuts deals with our enemies. The United States publicly embarrasses and humiliates Israel, despite the fact that Israel does more for the United States than all of their other allies put together. And that's a fact. That's a total fact. Now, if the United States doesn't value our friendship, we'll just go elsewhere. It's not a problem. But here's the good news. We don't even have to go elsewhere. We're sitting pretty right now. That's the God's honest truth. Our leadership is garbage, sadly. But the population is strong. The military is strong. Our economy is strong. Everything's great here. So we have a tremendous amount of optimism. But we must understand we cannot get ahead with the current Israel last leadership. And sadly, that even includes the quote-unquote far-right Otzma Yehudit, the Jewish Strength Party, which is really the Jewish Apology Party, the Israel Last Party. But nothing we didn't know. But we'll see. We will see. Supposedly the negotiations are over. Odds are Donald Trump will just say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. He's going to make a few moves and, oh, we're going to have negotiations again. In my opinion, this is going to drag out forever. But who knows? I'm not here to make a prediction. I'm simply looking at what's going on, and the United States continues to prove itself to be an unworthy and an untrustworthy and frankly, an ally that doesn't have the internal fortitude to destroy the enemies of Western civilization. If that responsibility is devolved upon Israel, so be it. We have everything we need to wipe Iran off the planet. Count on it. Iran has shot its best shot. It's barely anything at all. Us, we haven't even gotten started yet. So if the United States wants to bow out, there's the door. People say to me all the time, the United States is going to leave. I said, please, by all means, you are free to leave anytime you want. Because here's why. When the United States leaves, Iran is done. Iran is finished. The entire Israeli public, everyone wants Iran wiped off the planet, and we have the means to do it. So saying the US is going to leave, that's not a threat at all. You want to go? Please do.